What is going on, people? This is another episode of Toxic Masculinity. Today I have Blake joining me in Savage Red Recovery, and we're here to discuss, do we need more religion to fix our societal issues? This is also an open discussion, so if you want to chime in, the link is in the description box, as well as the links for all of my social media. Because y'all do me a favor and hit those for me. Every link in there. Thank y'all. So, Savage,
So,
we know you are the staunchest religious believer up here. So, do you think that we need more religion to fix what's going on in society right now?
yes,
Explain.
because when we had God more involved in society, the society had more. And the farther we've gotten away from God since the 60s, the worse the country has gotten. That's
So
it.
you think getting oh, go ahead.
That's
I
it.
thought you were done. You think so you think getting away from God is a fairly new thing, or is it something that's always happened?
Always, but it always happens. It's a cycle that's always going to repeat itself. But one of we got to swing the pendulum back.
By the way, y'all, Blake is Kamala Harris's cousin. He is not white. He is Indian. He's black. He's here for us. He has all the answers.
But you should mention the Jamaican part, right?
Well, you can throw that in there if you want to.
Right,
What's important is that you're American black. That's all that matters.
right.
So
Making
do you feel that we need more or less religion?
Absolutely not. What we need is more community, more common ties and bonds. And to me, the idea of religion or the belief or the faith in the divine, that which we can't prove, is not any kind of solid ground at all. Um, in the past, religion served as sort of a label and a proxy for the idea of community. It was something that people had in common, although not necessarily real. It was a reason for people to gather, a reason for people to communicate, to form relationships, and that was kind of the umbrella over a foundation that was actually real. Relationships, like I say, tasks, charity, need, helping the neighbor, friends and family, that kind of thing. I don't think that we need religion at all. As a matter of fact, I think it needs to be private and personal, and that's where it needs to stay. To tie God to anything of the real world and things that are objective um, is just a disintegration of our order and our dialogue as a species, really.
I'm personally torn on it because I've seen the good that religion does, and I've also seen the terrible stuff that it does as well. So I'm kind of torn on it. I know personally for me, growing up, a lot of stuff that I didn't do a lot of stuff that was considered bad or stuff that I knew would get me in trouble because in the back of my mind I always had a fear of hell. So whether that fear was healthy or not, it kept me from getting into shit that I wasn't supposed to. It. And I can acknowledge that the youth or most people these days don't have that healthy fear of something. Like we don't even fear jail.
Well, in some ways, jail is a better option than the experienced world. The free world. And for some people, a homeless person or a person that's down on their luck, depressed, doing drugs, running around with people that they know that aren't their actual friends. Uh, Jail might be actually a better option. It's some order, it's security, it's safety. I think you're right. I mean, people sometimes choose to just be criminals to get away from the what chaos of their actual personal life and the chaos of their decisions and their behaviors. I mean, I'm with you there.
So Savage, where in your mind do you? I remember you going back to the '60s. Is that where you pinpoint where everything started going haywire for us?
The '60s was definitely so before then, a population majority religion, and you had revolution, which takes from take. You also
Hey,
had
hey, Savage, you're cutting out. Are you hearing that too, Money Boy, or is it my computer?
Yeah, I'm hearing them.
Okay.
but when uh when it comes down to it, we had feminism into society, and we had sexual revolution, drug counterculture, which all those things are the opposite of individuals. Um, freedom, freedom doesn't help anybody. The more freedom that people have, the more bad choices they make. At least when there was religion, people had some form of morals, and there was still shame that went on.
Blake, you got a counter for that for what you for
Yeah, I
the
mean,
piece that you heard?
so he said the sexual revolution, and as far okay, let me break this down. But let me center myself. Okay, so he says the sexual revolution changed things in the 1960s. I would venture to say that things that changed started a long time before that. And one of the things that changed was Social Security, which happened in like 1947 and 48. When people came back from World War II, men were limited. There was a lot of people that were maimed and dead in World War II. And when they came back, the United States had carte blanche. They could do whatever they want as far as the industrial global environment went, as far as business went. And that's why people did so well in 1945 and beyond. The baby boomer generation, a bunch of children were born, people bought houses, GI Bills, all that kind of stuff. And
Jobs.
in that shadow, the government started enacting social programs, one of which was Social Security. It laid out the blanket of social welfare and immediately started paying Social Security when it didn't have any money in the bank for it. Now, that starts to devalue and disintegrate the bonds that we have. Um, Previously, those kinds of voids where need was were filled by organizations, Masons, clubs, Shriners, communities, churches, that kind of thing. And the people that needed help were held accountable. Now all of a sudden, uh, from Social Security on through the 60s and the 70s, social programs were added, and those were the proxy or the fill-in for what we used to have. We used to have relationships. We used to have bonds. We used to have communities where people knew each other. They knew how they acted. They knew what they needed, what their problems were, what their positives were, what they could add to the community. I don't see the sexual revolution as anything other than a symptom of those things. Um, People then were in a great time of plenty. They had great jobs. I don't hold any value to unions, but unions were strong, so they were able to advocate for higher wages to get a bigger piece of the pie. When the industry in the United States, I mean, Europe was totaled. It was to the ground. It was cinders, and uh, Russia was the same way. The Soviet Union, I should say. So America could do whatever they wanted as far as business went, international technology, that kind of thing. It was a devolving family relationship, and it was made worse by no fault marriage. President Reagan before he was President Reagan, was the governor of California, and he instituted no fault divorce, and he said that was his greatest regret, and it makes sense because if there's no accountability within the contract of marriage, everything devolves after that. Everything falls apart, including your children.
Savage, what the fuck are you eating?
Ice cream.
I think we all can agree that sex isn't a new thing, and even in biblical times, some type of sexual revolution had to have occurred to even populate as much as we have. So I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing. I think we have more issues going on that the Bible or us as people can look at and say is far worse than sex right now.
No, but it's not. It's okay. So, all right. The question was, why is religion? Why is my belief that religion is marriage comes from religion? Correct?
No,
Yes.
no.
Yes, it does.
How does marriage come from religion?
Because marriage came from religion before it came from the state.
Well, are you talking 300 years ago, or are you talking now?
I'm talking the idea of marriage. I'm not talking the idea of marriage in 1954 when they decided to make it legal for you to have a no fault divorce.
Are you about to claim that pair bonding was something that was imagined by religion? Because that's not the case.
Okay,
I
so
was about to.
marriage is making a vow. Not the same. And if you're going to make the argument that if you're going to make the idea that aren't made to spread our seed to multiple women would survive, then I don't know like what your arguments. If you're going to tell me religion has nothing to do with marriage, then you're crazy.
I'm saying that it's not attached to religion. It's completely separate. I can make contract with anybody aside from religion. I can make a contract with a woman. I can make I can give an oath. I can live my life in a manner that sustains a relationship, and that's all it is. It has nothing to do with religion. I'm not religious.
To get started, download the Google
That's
Home
my
app on a
Alexa
phone or
talking.
tablet.
Ignore her.
You not religious has nothing to do if it's religious or not.
Well, you're claiming that it's a religious concept. I'm telling you
It
that
is.
I can completely understand the concept of me making a commitment with somebody, a woman, and having a family and having a relationship and committing long term, lifelong, without the implication of religion, without the involvement of religion. It doesn't matter. There are people that had these relationships and commitments that weren't religious, and people that were religious and certainly weren't Christian.
Okay,
It's
Savage.
not
Question.
it's not determinative.
Okay, question, Savage. So which?
You're
Because I actually don't know. So I have a question that'll probably help us clear this up. Which came first, God saying "Be fruitful and multiply," or a marriage? Because I honestly don't know.
well, be fruitful, multiply is in the beginning of the Bible. If you look at any religion, not Christianity, any religion, they had marriage. Tribes that tribes in third world in like remote places have religion and they have marriage. Marriage has been a concept of religious beliefs throughout time. Throughout time. So I don't understand how the idea of marriage, an argument can be made that it doesn't come from religion.
What is Savage? What is the value of marriage?
The value
Yeah,
to build families, which builds society.
expound on that. Why are families important? Why is marriage important? Why are the things that you just highlighted important?
What does it have to do with what I said?
Well, I'm concerned. I'm not concerned. I'm interested in what underlies why families are important. I'm not disagreeing with you. I just want to hear you explain it.
The reason that families are important is because you need someone to provide and someone to nurture the children. So men aren't going to give up resources without sex. Without sex, you're not going to have children. So the idea of making a man and a woman be bound to each other is beneficial for society because, like now, if you have a bunch of women that aren't married and don't have children, they are a burden to society as a whole.
Right.
That's why whenever you have any sort of animal in any sort of animal kingdom, birds, if a bird gets sick, they peck the motherfucker to death because any sort of species on Earth that does animal does not bring value to the herd, they kill it.
So in what you want for a civilization and really the reality of humankind, you want definite things. You want sustainability. You want security. You want protection. You want all sorts of things. So the idea of the family is held together by an oath, by a commitment. And I don't see that you need religion for that.
I didn't.
Those realities exist separated from the idea of the divine.
I didn't say that you had to have that to be married.
Well, you claimed that it was a religious concept.
It is a religious concept, regardless if you need religion or not. It still comes from
sustainability religion. And security in the face of biological realities and needs and wants exist aside from religion. I don't understand how you claim that it's a religious concept.
Well, I think here's the disconnect. Savage is looking at it from he doesn't see life past when God created it, and we're able to say, well, before a religion, that we believe that people exist and we believe that people did these things, whether it was a religious concept or not. So that's kind of the disconnect. Savage is only looking at it from what the Bible tells him, and we're looking at it from his as well as the outside. That's why I asked him which one came first to him. The first people. Well, I'm just explaining where a disconnect comes in between us.
That's a good point. That's good insight, Money.
But it's not, because you're explaining something that I don't think you say. Cavemen had marriages. The wedding ring comes back from cavemen.
Cavemen didn't have a Bible, though.
Correct.
They did. Do people nowadays get divorced because they're anti-God? Why do they get divorced?
Well,
I mean, does God ever enter into the equation?
So listen, every time that I say something, you try to counter what I'm saying.
Well, of course.
Yes, but you don't even the reason Moneyboy Trey said that Ronald Reagan said that him being governor and allowing women to have no accountability for marriage was the worst thing he ever said. All right,
I didn't say that.
That was you said that? Okay, so you said that, right?
Yep.
Okay, so when was he governor?
He was governor of California in the 60s, I think.
And what was going on in California during the 60s?
Well, it was going on nationwide, but it was, I guess, a revolt against society.
But specifically...
The hippie generation.
Correct. And what came from the hippie generation?
What did they produce? Is that what you mean?
No. What was the thing that they pushed? What was part of the hippie movement?
Lots of freedom, lots of choice, lots of drugs, exploration, challenging social narratives, all sorts of things.
Correct.
That was one thing that they said, yeah.
Yeah, but when
I love the hippies.
To Ronald Reagan, and marriage in California, that free love thing is the most important thing. All right. So
Well, there's a sequence of events, and if you're no longer required to be accountable to a marriage contract, and now all of a sudden, in this case, women have the upper hand as far as social programs. I mean, these things were implemented in like 1963, 64, 65, and the hippie generation came alive like probably the end of 1967. Our policy as human beings, our environment is our government. We're not susceptible to bears, and lions and the weather to a great degree. What we're susceptible to and what we experience on a day-to-day basis is our government and the policies. So we make our decisions based on those things. So when government does those kinds of things, it directly affects people's behavior. If women are no longer accountable not only to their husbands and not to government or not to a community or social stigma or a standard, then yeah, people are going to do whatever they want to do. And in the light of a generation that had a whole lot of money and a whole lot of opportunity, the parents of the baby boomers post World War II, they had all the options in the world. They could do whatever they wanted. There was lots of union jobs. Like I said, the United States had carte blanche to do whatever the fuck they wanted on a business level, on an industrial level. And these kids were spoiled as fuck. And the parents probably sat back and thought, well, I'm a little bit fucked up from the war. And my wife chose me, although I might not have been her first choice because a whole lot of people died. But I got the GI Bill and I got a great job down at the lumber mill. And they let their kids go to pot. They didn't look after them the way that they should have. They didn't teach them the way that they should have. And things disintegrated. They let Social Security and the subsequent welfare programs come in. And the capstone on the whole deal was no-fault divorce and the upholding of abortion.
Well, you actually have experience because you lived through this. How were the religious values back then compared to now?
Who lived through what?
Well, I'm saying, you spoke about it like you lived through it, like you lived through the 70s era, the hippies era. So I was just asking if you had insight into it. You'd have more insight than me. Shit, I was born in '83.
1983, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Well, I was born in 82, so I certainly didn't live through any of the years that I just highlighted.
Well, fuck.
I mean, I don't know. Empathy, being alone a whole lot of my life, thinking a whole lot of my life.
Yeah.
That's the only way that I can really explain it. I mean, I could go into depth, but that'd be a waste of our time.
Yeah. So, who was against abortion?
Not
Who was
King
against
Solomon.
abortion?
Not King Solomon. He was going to split a baby in half.
I mean, to kind of cut the conversation off that we're about to have, I don't see anything wrong with pro-choice. I'm anti-abortion, but I don't see anything wrong with pro-choice because if government comes in and tells you to do something, the conversation's wrapped around the force that they're telling you not to do something. You haven't made a choice.
I don't need. Who was against abortion is what I asked.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
It doesn't really matter to me, but
it does.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
Okay, well, we waiting on you. We waiting on you to enlighten us.
When Roe vs. Wade was upheld, because you said that was a problem, the church was against it. You know also who shunned women that got pregnant as teenagers? The women in the church. You know who also shunned women getting divorced? The church. So all of these negative things that you're saying affected society, the church was something that was involved that was fighting against those things. And the farther and farther we've gotten away from the church, the more and more and more it's gotten worse. Like when my mom was a kid, if a girl got pregnant in the 80s, they sent her to a different school. Now, you've got girls that are 14 that are pregnant that are on YouTube that have 50,000 subscribers because she's pregnant at 14. The shaming was part of society when the church was more involved in society.
Okay, can you clarify that for me?
How
I
so?
hate to cut you off. Can you clarify that for me? When you say that the church was fighting against you, you're saying that the church was against abortions and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
the people that were out there protesting abortion clinics, the most of the people in the 60s and 70s and the 80s and the 90s and even now, most of the people that fight against abortion are religious
I
people
got you.
people that are members of the church.
I got you. I just didn't understand. I got confused there for a second. So, are you against separation of church and state, or are you for it?
I'm for the separation of church and state. It's
Well,
separate.
that's kind of tricky though, because they're always in business with each other. The church has a 501c,
That's not what
and
that's not what that means.
Well,
but they're
hold-
still
I
in business with each other. You can say that's not what it means at all, but they do business with the state.
Yeah, the separation of church and state has to do with the state isn't allowed to sponsor or pay other.
Oh, I get all of that, but I'm saying that's where I was going. If you're for the separation of church and state, then that's kind of why shit's where it is. You can't have both. We can't have God and state. That's why I asked that question. Because like if we're going to say we need more religion, well, we can't say we're against it. We're for the separation for of it, but we need more religion because the two can't coexist.
They can coexist.
I'm listening.
They both can exist. We need society, society, or value in religion. You don't need the state to sponsor it.
Savage, do you believe that religious people that in order to be moral or good or sustainable that you need to be religious?
I believe that if you have morals or you have a belief in something, you're more prone to.
Say that again. You cut out.
Yeah, you still cutting in and out.
If you have morals or a faith in something, you are more likely to stick to those things.
So if you have morals or you have faith, you're more likely to be religious. Is that what you said?
No, what I said is if you have, in order to have morals and faith, you are more likely to stick to them, is what I said.
To stick to them. Okay. Yeah, because it keeps cutting out right when you say stick. You might need to go in and out. Cause it,
What I'm asking is, so I'm not religious and I'm agnostic and I'm not tied to any religion. And are you claiming that I can't have morals because I'm not religious and I don't have faith? Is that what you're claiming?
Those were the okay. So I can't claim anything because you asked me a question. So I'm not making a claim off of a question that you answered. So that's loaded. Two, those were not in any of what you said.
You made a statement and they were tied together.
You asked me what I thought, is what you said, correct?
I don't know.
You asked me a question.
Expound, please. Continue.
Well, I didn't say that, so no. Like I didn't say that. The words you used, I didn't say.
So, do you need faith in religion, in a God, in the divine, in order to be good and moral and sustainable?
No, you don't.
Okay, then why include it?
That's not what I said. I said you're
no,
more.
but he's asking you why not include it
Include what?
into your
Religion, faith.
lifestyle. Into your lifestyle. If you can acknowledge that you don't need it to be a good person, then why include it in life? Is what he's saying.
Okay, should we? So should every. Would you tell women that they should be single mothers because it can work out well?
What's that got to do with faith and religion?
Because you're saying that in order for you to be, if you don't need religion to be more, you ask me, do you need religion to be moral? No, you don't. But my point
Then why bring it up? Then
because
what influence does it have in our society if you don't need it to be moral?
Single women having kids would be immoral.
no, what I'm no, but Again,
I'm listening. I'm gonna go get a beer.
again, I said if you have faith and morals, you are more likely to stick to them. If you don't, you would be less likely. Just like a single mom her kid could end up being a fucking quarterback for the NFL, but the statistics prove that that's probably not likely. So just because something can happen doesn't mean it's the best option. It
You're
doesn't mean
tying faith to morals. What does faith have to do with morals?
because if you have a belief in something, you're more likely to hold on that, stick to that.
Well, morals is a
It's subjective.
determination based on observation and evidence in the world. If you could say I have morals, what does that mean? It doesn't really mean shit. You could say I'm against abortion. Well, why? Why? Because abortion is unsustainable. It's unsustainable for society. It's unsustainable for the individual on several different levels: emotional, physical, self-respect, uh, um, all sorts of levels, and it doesn't have anything to do with religion. It's your DNA, it's your choices, it's your relationships, it's your status in society. I mean, you can't say that any of this is tied to faith because faith is
I didn't.
um,
I
faith is
That's
believing
not
in
what I.
something that you can't see
That's
or
not,
experience.
dude. You're arguing something. You keep arguing something I didn't say.
You said faith and morals in the same sentence.
Correct.
Faith has nothing to do with morals.
I said if you have faith in something, you are more likely to stick to it. Right.
No, you said faith and morals. You are
If
more
you
likely
have
to
faith
stick to something.
and morals, you're more likely to stick to them. Correct.
What does faith have to do with morals? It doesn't have anything to do with it.
Because you have a belief in something greater. You're holding yourself to a standard.
So
I don't think the two are mutually exclusive.
I I didn't.
I don't have to have faith to not kill someone.
God, I'm gonna get
the
off.
reality of morals, the substantive issue of morals is your reality. Your morals lead you to a path of sustainability within a society. Your image, your reputation, your relationships, everything is real. You say faith, and that's the relationship with something you don't know and you can't demonstrate. You don't know. What you can experience, what you do know, is humanity. And morals, in quotation marks, morals is the confines of your relationship with other human beings. There's a reason not to murder. The reason is, well, basically, is nobody else will trust you if you murder somebody. You didn't have a relationship with them. Who else wants to do business with you? Who else wants to live with you? Who else wants to have a relationship with you if you murder people for no reason? That's the objective reason and the human reason not to do that. Because you have to have other people. You have to have relationships, ties, bonds, resources, information, technology, strategy, lessons, and you get those from other people.
Rebuttal, sir.
God
Go
doesn't
ahead.
need to tell you not to murder. Whether God exists or not, it doesn't really matter. Our experience is here on earth. There's all sorts
Yes.
of reasons not to murder and rape and pillage and steal that
Well,
don't
that's
have
what
anything to do with God.
I said. Morality is very subjective because it comes down to your culture and it pretty much comes down to your culture and all that stuff. Because just imagine, like, we think eating dogs or certain types of animals is nasty and beneath us, but it's accepted otherwhere else. To where to us it's morally wrong. We're like, we would never do that, but other people accept it. That's why I like having a conversation with religious people so that they could see, like, a lot of the times we're coming at a situation from your view and our view, and we just want to know, are you bold enough to step outside of just your view and see it from our way? Because
money? Did
kept
Sabbath
going back.
jump off?
I don't
Or
know. He said he was, but it still looks like he's up there. So I'm not. I don't. His name is still up there. I'm not sure if he's gone or not. He may have. He said he was leaving though.
guess I
But
made him
it's,
mad.
I don't know. I think he might have been. I don't know though. He didn't say anything. It's still up. Typically, it goes out when you leave the stream. But
Yeah,
yeah, because that's why I had to let him know. I think that everything we say, he's going to say it starts with the Bible. That's
of
fine, but
course.
we do, but we have to acknowledge that it's some stuff that predate the Bible. So
And
if we know stuff predates the Bible, we have to account for what those people were doing before they got the Bible.
I understand where he's coming from completely. And we talked earlier this afternoon about the stream, and I don't discount the Bible at all. It's got a lot of lessons. It's got a lot of wisdom. It's got a lot of stories. It doesn't matter if they're true or not. It doesn't matter if the people exist or not. It's still an account of human experience. And you know the consequences for our behavior, whether positive or good or positive or bad, they exist. And whether God's on the other side after we die or not, it doesn't change our decision process and why we make those decisions here and now in reality.
That's true. That's why I said I'm torn on it. That's why I said I can't say if we need more of it or we don't, because as I said, a lot of shit I didn't do coming up because I feared hell. I don't believe in hell now, so now I just make decisions based off how would I feel if it was done to me.
Well,
If I
would
think
we
I would feel shitty, then I typically not. I don't do it.
can we both agree that a form of heaven and hell can be experienced on this earth while
Yes,
we're alive? Absolutely. Okay.
yes,
Then the heaven
absolutely.
and hell that we don't know about and we aren't sure that exists and we can't demonstrate and we don't have evidence of isn't really worth talking about, because our life decisions here and now form a heaven or hell or somewhere in between on a spectrum for us, right?
All right. And if
Right.
all is mental, and if all is
Absolutely.
mental, that lets you know that you create your own heaven or hell. And I
Exactly.
think we have to stop taking stuff so literally. I know it's hard, but we have to. It seems like, you know what? I we I guess when I left religion, I actually was able to see it a lot clearer. I was able to understand it a lot clearer once I left.
I mean, when people say religion, I mean it's kind of like it's a big damn pond. There's a lot of things that are involved in religion. And like I say, the bonds and the things that people have in common go way beyond the interpretation of the word God in quotation marks. I mean, you know, similar backgrounds and how much money you make and where did your family come from and what do you do for a living and your intelligence and obviously your race and there's all sorts of different things that people can associate, all sorts of different levels that people can associate on that they have in common that don't have anything to do with something that you can't demonstrate. It gets in the way of people making friends and aligning with family. You're talking about something that nobody has proof of. There's over recorded history and way more that we've lost over the years that can't be established. One religion says that they're right and everybody else is wrong.
Right.
Well, what's the commonality? The commonality is the human experience. And to me, God, the word God, is a stand in for the things that we can't explain. People use it all the time, and we can't explain, or we don't want to explain, or we don't want to face. And there's a reality to life. Who knows if God exists? Who knows if there's an afterlife? But what we can agree upon is there's an objective life that we all experience. There's a world that's here.
Do you
And
know what's? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
go ahead.
What's weird about the word God is it has like 3 or 4 meanings, but we tend to only just look at the first one. If we look at all the definitions, literally every human being that exists is a God.
It says that in Genesis. It says, if hold on, I'll even quote it to you. You still there, Money?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I'll even quote it to you. Um,
KG, if you're still here, you can click the link to jump in and discuss.
I think Savage got mad.
Uh, well, do we need more religion to fix the issues that are wrong with us now? One of the
Well,
main issues we have is division amongst us. We can't talk to each other. So I think religion just lost that round.
yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, it doesn't. We didn't. We didn't. I didn't connect with Savage on a human level, and he left the conversation because I can't agree on his terms to what faith in the divine tied to our shared reality. That's silly.
Come on, click the link, KG. Come on in. We're very interested in your thoughts because this is an open discussion. Nobody's right or nobody's wrong on this one. We're just asking questions. Are we still here? What the hell? I think did the stream freeze up?
I'm still here.
Okay. It's just on my damn end. I didn't see the audio. As long as I'm not worried about you being froze up. I just need to hear you. But now I'm getting weird feedback. With headphones on, this damn self service is kicking my ass. You can still hear me though, can't you? Blake, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Okay. Oh, you're still pulling up the scripture, but I know Jesus even said ye are gods.
Yeah, he did. I can't find the exact scripture. It's hard. I don't have enough particular knowledge to be able to find the exact passage, but I know I've read it before.
Now you can Google that. You could just Google that quote, or you can go to the Blue Letter Bible and type it in. It'll even tell you how to say it in Hebrew. But yeah, that's one of the main divides we have. We have enough division without even bringing religion into it,
Well, I mean,
just as human beings.
even if you think about it, like as far as we're concerned, man is God on earth. I mean, we can control and manipulate the environment to the positive and the negative, like no other being can. I mean, our conception or idea of God is what we are in our world, and you can use that for a positive or a negative. Um, we're intelligent. We can abstract. We can strategize. We can philosophize. We can explain our feelings. We can communicate in you know a bunch of different ways. That's not the case for other animals. Not to say that they can't do some of those things, but I think as far as advancement, we're head and shoulders above other beings currently. Not to say they're less or worse, but um, in a
Heck,
sense, in our idea of God, we are gods.
but we can look at nature and see they have sense enough to get along. When you look at a watering hole, you see a whole shit ton of animals that you wouldn't expect to be there together, respecting
Hmm.
each other's boundary and space.
Yep. It's kind of a weird thing. The idea of what's sustainable is always kind of in the back of your mind. You know that you made a whole bunch of money this week, and you go to the casino and you want to drink and have a good time, but you know that's not sustainable, so you don't do it every day or every weekend or every month. It's the same way with nature. It's the same way with biology. It's the same way with every living thing. They know that there's no sense in killing two gazelles when you're only going to eat one. It's going to rot. Something else is going to eat it. You can't protect it. You can't use that energy in that time if you're a lion or a hyena to sit there and protect that carcass, because there's no point in it. Why kill two or three when you only need one?
Like, I never thought about this, but how divisive is the term "in God we trust" when you have a country full of all type of religious backgrounds?
Well, I mean, so long as it's kept personal and private, I don't think religion is bad. But when it's integrated into public policy and law and used as like a backer for your ideas that you aren't willing to discuss, then it's a problem. When people claim that they, as well as I do, the idea of world history, when people do bad things, they almost always say that God's behind them, or that they're the chosen people, or they're the whatever, and people lay down in front of it. They bend knee to it and they give in. The Khmer Rouge, Mao Zedong, I can't say that they were necessarily religious, and
The
the
who
great
people?
advancement. But Hitler was even a little bit religious. Religion even becomes the state. It's a personal choice. There's no reason why somebody should put their beliefs and their views on somebody else for that kind of thing.
Well, it depends on which God you're talking about, PG. But yes, the biblical God has several names, and so do the. Now the rest of them pretty much do good with having their God have a proper name.
And there may
Buddhism has
there may
several.
be a God, money, and I'm not comfortable with putting a name on him, and I'm not comfortable with even saying him. I'm not
Me
comfortable
either.
with I'm not comfortable with saying God says this and God believes in that and God backs this person and God doesn't back that person. I'm not comfortable with any of that because that's
Yeah,
dangerous.
yes, because at the end of the day, we know that a human wrote this book, and we know even if
Yep,
we believe God told it to him, we know how shit gets misinterpreted. Our
yep.
parent could tell us something to deliver a message, and by the time we get it to whoever, it's changed.
I'm all about what's sustainable and what makes people content and gives them peace of mind. And when you come into that place in life, look around at all the things that are involved, not just one thing. Don't just focus on one aspect or one influence. There's a whole bunch of things that bring people to a place of harmony.
I think religion would be a lot easier to accept if everyone had the same religion.
No, it wouldn't. It
I,
devolved.
there would be no infighting about whose God is best. Now, there still would be questions about that 144,000, but everybody would be on their best behavior to make sure they got in.
Well, Savage left, and that's a question that I wanted to ask him. Was he claimed that the downfall of religion was the problem in the '60s, but then he said that the separation of church and state, which is basically the stand-in for religion, um, he agreed with. And I thought, well, if you think that the downfall of religion in the '60s and '70s was the problem, why would you then disagree with this, or why would you then agree with separation of church and state?
Right, that's what I asked. I was like,
I
it would
must not have heard
seem
that
like,
part.
yeah, that's what I was getting at. I was like, if you feel like that the church was actually out there boycotting and saying abortion is wrong, why would you agree with this separation of church and state? Because you literally just took away the church's influence on the people of the state.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
But I still had to also point out how even though they stay separate, they're still in bed together.
On a financial level.
It's still in bed.
Yeah, they are. You're right.
If I just stuck the tip in, I still got some.
You want to tomorrow? I don't work as long, and I'm kind of disappointed that Savage jumped off of here. But do you want to do this again tomorrow night? See if you can get him back on.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get him back on, or I can what's that
Tell
his show? I think it was
tell
his
him tell
show.
him we're all cool and it's just guys talking. It's all right. You know.
No, but I mean it's some other guys that I encountered on his channel that were pretty into religion, and they seemed like pretty cool guys. Like one guy, he was all for using the Bible to control women, and I'm about toxic masculinity. So I was like, hey, I'll hear you out.
Well, it's like I said earlier today. You know, I'm not anti-religion. I just don't think that it, is a broad conversation that a country needs to have. It's a personal choice. Leave it out.
Just like sexuality.
Yeah, just exactly right. Just like sexuality. Yep. Yep. If it works for you and you're happy about it, then by God, do it. And when you do it, you better keep it personal and private.
I actually want to start a straight pride parade, but I don't have enough men that take me seriously. So
Hey,
that's
money.
not funny. That's fucked up. This lady can have a slut walk, and I can't have straight men say they're proud to be straight men.
Well, it doesn't really have value. I wouldn't say. Neither one does. If there's a LGBTQ parade or a straight parade, it doesn't really. Neither one of them has value. It's again like the
Not
coagulation of a bunch of
not physical
personal,
value.
private decisions. Like nobody needs to hear about it.
It doesn't
You know,
have physical value, but it'll make me feel good to know I trolled them and to be like,
it'll
hey,
make it'll make you feel good that you made them mad.
yes, because I'm
Yeah,
just like, this is how we feel. Like, we don't need to know you're gay. It's fine. We don't have to see you have a parade. Why do you have to
exactly.
have a pride week?
Right,
People have been gay since the beginning of time.
right.
And they
Yep.
never
I don't.
they got along. Just San Francisco was built without a pride week, as far as
Right. I
last
don't
I
need.
checked.
I don't need to know that you're gay in order for us to coexist in society. You do that behind closed doors, and that's perfectly fine. I don't need to hear about it. I don't want to see it.
Well, I need to know if you're gay, if you're attracted to me.
No, you don't.
If you're attracted to me, that means you're going to try to hit on me.
I'm
So
attracted to a bunch of women that I see that I don't hit on.
oh well, sis, something's wrong with you. Hitting
Hey,
on
money.
them is simply complimenting them and seeing where you can go with it.
Hey, money. I had some friends drop by, and I work short hours tomorrow, and I want to do this again. Hell, I'll do this as much as you want.
Oh, that's cool. You gotta say you're a toxic masculinity type of guy.
Yeah, I
Y'all,
know I am.
I'm still tired from just yesterday.
Yeah,
So this was a short yet long stream. This is toxic masculinity.
it
Money
was
Boy Trey.
concentrated.
Blake is in. Savage Red, come on back, man. Finish this conversation. We can't run from it. Not unless you just think we're demons, and if you are 666.
We could be.
That's why I said if he thinks we're demons, 666. Hope
Yep,
that
we're one
scares
tick
you.
shy of 2/3.
Hopes that scares you back a little bit. But you do know two of us won't be included in that 144,000. So
I guess not. I can live with it.
all right, y'all. Thank y'all for y'all support too. For everyone who has subscribed. Also, all my social media is in the description box. Like, subscribe, and follow on all of those. But there, I'm sleepy. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow.
Good night, money.
Bye bye.